Hello, everybody. How are you doing tonight? We're live from Qatar. How you doing, Ed?
Good, Peter Brown. I mean, it's really hot over here, guys. And I just gotta say, I wish we could drink beer, but they don't let us drink beer.
They're not
over
letting
here,
us
so
drink any beer here in Outbait Stadium, right out in front of Outbait Stadium. You can see the beautiful stadium out behind us.
right behind us. That's where Ecuador and Qatar just played a few hours before. So it really was a hell of a trip all the way over here, guys. I gotta tell you. And I was wearing my Ecuador shirt.
Yeah.
My Ecuador shirt, and well, you can see it right there. But wait, it's kind of fading, Peter.
It's fading out. I don't know why.
Oh no! I think they can tell it's a green screen behind us. Okay, so we're not actually in Qatar, guys. We wish we could have gone. Next time we'll ask for your donation so we can go to the next World Cup. But
the next World Cup's here. We won't have to go that far.
Oh, that's true. Oh, you're right. Yeah, it's not going to be bad because there's going to be Miami's one of the whole city, so we're probably going to have a couple games.
Hopefully. I mean, they're in contention, right?
Yeah. No, they're already.
Oh no, it was decided, right? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, it was decided.
Yeah,
We're in.
I forget. Well, anyways. Hey everybody, thanks so much for joining us. The routine. Say hello in the chat, and let's get busy talking some World Cup in our new World Cup studio. So we made some changes to the show look a little bit, and to make it a little more fun, a little more interesting. But before we get to all the fun stuff to talk about, we have to, as always, talk about Caneswear. And that's where you can go to get all your best Inter Miami gear. Go check them out. This, I'm sure they're going to have some sales coming up soon. It's Black Friday, so go to the store, check them out. They're located in Davie off of 595 on University, just south of 595. If that's too far for you to drive, go to caneswear.com. No problem. Any orders over $99 shipped for free. So, get all your Inter Miami gear there at Caneswear.
Yeah, guys, and you can get all your cool Inter Miami stuff there. There's a little bit to talk about Inter Miami. We can talk towards the end about that. But mostly it's all going to be World Cup. It's whatever you guys want. If you guys want to call us, go ahead and do it. 786-474-4435. We'll talk just about anything soccer now because mostly, I think we're going to talk about more World Cup. But I'm sure the news for Inter Miami is going to be pretty slow these days.
Yeah, I wouldn't expect any announcements during the World Cup. I mean, because that's like, in reality, you're kind of throwing away your media attention then. You're just wasting it.
Oh, yeah.
So, they put out, MLS, Inter Miami, everybody put out a little bit of sprinkling of news here and there before the World Cup. But now that it's gotten going, I doubt you'll hear anything of value. So,
There's probably going to be a lot of talk about some of these players that are showing up. I would imagine maybe Cristiano Ronaldo will come to Major League Soccer. Messi has been heard of coming. So there's a lot of veteran players. Busquets is another one they mentioned for Inter Miami. So there's going to be quite a few names that they're going to mention that might come to Major League Soccer. So that's going to be cool.
And what's always fun with the World Cup is to watch and see who you want, right? Who's the player that maybe a breakout player. It may not be the biggest star. There's always going to be somebody that's going to earn some massive contract or that is going to get the attention. Inter Miami has mentioned they do have scouts out at the World Cup, so MLS teams will be looking at the players out there because. Like I said, maybe it's not the DP, maybe it's a smaller up and coming player or something like that, but does well in the World Cup, and so then that's an opportunity for clubs to pick up players, and so that's going to be fun too. Is just kind of keep an eye out on those guys. But let's say hi to a few people in the chat. We only see a few people in here, but let's go ahead and say hello.
We got One World, One Goal saying, yes, I am very happy that Ecuador, and this is a spoiler if you guys haven't seen the game, It's the first time Ecuador has, a team that hasn't been the host has won the game, the inaugural game. So I think that's
Qatar,
awesome.
in other words, Qatar made history, but
They
not
sure
the way you
did.
want. But not the way you want to make history. They're the first host country to not win their first game.
Yeah. And
Ecuador. You could argue that this was one of, I don't know, no offense, Ed, but one of the worst opening games because neither one is in contention to win the World Cup, right? And let's be honest, Qatar is probably going to.
Thanks, man. Thanks.
Qatar is going to probably lose all their games. Ecuador can hopefully get out of the group, right? But you would think this was a fairly lackluster beginning of
First game.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think. Well, let's say hi.
Okay, let's keep going,
and then we'll elaborate a little bit more. I want to say hello to Jose Velasquez. He said hi. He chimed in real quick. We got B King. How you doing, B King? Of course, we're in our USA shirts because we're getting ready for tomorrow's game. Guyver is also with us.
We got this too.
Nice. Peter, he's ready. And Peter, that's it right now. Guys, be sure to get in the chat and let us know what you guys think about these games that are coming up. Fancy graphics, Peter Brown. Yes, it looked like we were in Qatar there for a second, didn't it? When I saw it, I was like, "Damn, Peter, this is pretty cool."
We've got a pretty good budget here at FMTV, so you might see us at other stadiums throughout this month, and
we're gonna be all over Qatar.
We're gonna spend that Caneswear money well at and here in Qatar.
Yes, we will. And Peter, let's elaborate a little bit more about that game. I think, you mentioned it. People thought that Qatar was going to be a little bit, stronger against Ecuador. I don't think anybody really thought that. I would have expected people to think maybe there's going to be a tie, but I think it worked out for Ecuador. I mean, we obviously saw that Qatar is not up to par. I think. Maybe with the rest of the World Cup teams. I mean, they didn't go through an elimination like everybody else got eliminated. So for them, I think the road to the World Cup was a little bit different. Ecuador, on the other hand, they played with some big teams and being Argentina and Brazil and the rest of South America.
You could argue, and I was having this conversation with my wife, is that for South American countries, for teams that are in the CONMEBOL, it's got to be the hardest, if not one of the hardest, regions to get out of, because Brazil's going to make it, Argentina's going to make it. Then, and is it 4 teams come out of there?
4 teams, and one goes to
goes to the playoff. So potentially 5 teams. So those other 3, though, are fighting for 2 spots for the most part. Yeah, because
for the most part,
because right off the bat, you going into the qualifiers, and you pretty much know 2 countries are shoo-ins. Colombia didn't make it in, and I was hoping for Colombia to make it in.
One of the big surprises. I mean, Colombia's got a hell of a team, but I guess they don't mesh well together. They actually had a game here against Paraguay. What was it on Saturday?
Right.
And Colombia, you guys probably saw that Colombia beat Paraguay 2-0. Falcao actually scored a goal, and there were rumors of Falcao maybe coming to Inter Miami, but I don't think that's going to happen now. And it was just a tougher road for Ecuador to get through. And Ecuador was pretty much in 3rd place for most of. I think they were up in 2nd place for a little bit, and then they stayed in 3rd place almost towards the very end, where Uruguay finally passed them, I think, by a point. So or I think it was goal differential. I don't remember off the top of my head, but it was a tougher road for them to get through to the World Cup, and so. I mean, you saw the game.
Mm-hmm.
Ecuador basically dominated. and Qatar barely. I think they attacked 3 or 4 times.
Agreed. But you know the game. I mean, let's talk about what should have been, because you know it started off. I think in the opening minute, you know, Qatar pushed, you know, but they had like a good 30 seconds of a push, right?
Right.
and then quickly Ecuador, you know, in the first minute and a half scored a goal that was ruled offsides. I think it was within minute and a half, 2.5 minutes. It was early in the game, within the first few minutes of the game, and it was ruled offsides. And here's the offsides, Ed. I don't know.
Right.
It didn't look offsides to me.
And I think I was watching on Telemundo, and they were saying, you know, they have no idea what they saw. I mean, they put that same image, and they're saying, okay, how in tarnations is that an offside? Well,
I agree, but then there's this other image that keeps popping up, this computer-generated image that this is what they say is the view from, you know, this software they're using that shows that he was technically offsides. But, you know, I go back to this image and my human eye says, no, he's onside.
Right. And did he actually, that looks like he's actually touching the ball right there, right? So that's, I think.
Yeah, I mean, that looks like that's the beginning of the pass.
Right.
Right. And you got a guy behind the goalkeeper that's keeping him onside. And then there's the guy, I don't know, number 18, maybe it's a little blurry. That's definitely looks like he's also keeping him onside. But then, you know, they keep showing this image.
And yeah, I don't know where was that, like what, a minute before? I mean, how many seconds before did that take place? That's the thing that everybody's like, you know, there's a controversy because, you know, there's, you know, I guess Qatar's, there was this big rumor that they tried to bribe 8 Ecuadorian players for $7 million. I don't know if you saw that. It was all over social media. So a lot of people, well, there you go. I transferred.
Well, yeah. What is he saying? Habibi says, Habibi, I thought everything was done. The other guy, hands in face. I transferred the money to Antonio Valencia instead of Ener Valencia. Wrong guy.
Yeah, Antonio just retired last year, so he definitely sent the money to the wrong guy. I'm sure Antonio's happy because, you know, he's retired. He's probably doesn't have a good income coming in right now.
There you go. So yeah,
that was bucks right there.
That was a report that was coming out that there was $7 million from Qatar to what, 5 players? I think it was
8. I think they said 8.
Oh, was it 8? And I think it was like a $7 million total. So it was spread out amongst 8 players. You know, but of course that was a rumor. It doesn't look like it the way they played. So,
well, if anything, if they did get that money, well, you know, they got the 3 points and the money. So I think it worked out really well for them. But you know, going back to that missed goal or called outside goal, you know, it was I mean, the beginning of the game, and already there was controversy. I mean, I got on social media and people were like saying it was robbed, that they probably, you know, they paid off the ref.
The ref.
And yeah, because you know, from my point of view, he wasn't offside. That was one hell of a goal too. So, you know, in the beginning, you know, already in the beginning, in the very first game, we're feeling like, you know, Qatar started wanting to cheat. But the good thing is that there were 2 other goals that they just they couldn't do anything about. So, you know, unless they keep, you know, calling more offsides, and one was a penalty, the first goal. And then the second one, well, you know, he was clearly not offside, so they had to. I mean, at least you guys won 2-0, so you know that goal didn't matter.
But it goes back to the words I put up on the screen: corruption, social issues, and human rights. So this is the kind of the backstory of this entire World Cup. And it's funny is my wife, being Brazilian, is always telling me referees are paid off. That's just kind of how the Brazilians think. And I'm generally of the mind that, no, everybody's pretty honest. Maybe I'm naive. And then I watched that Netflix show, FIFA Uncovered, I think is what it was called. And if you haven't watched it, you need to watch it tomorrow. I mean, like, it really gives you an insight into this World Cup. And specifically, and because that's where it ends up. But it's the whole FIFA scandal that we all heard about. But it ends up with this World Cup and all the corruption that was involved with it. And there's so many more things that here Tank is saying, oops, I gotta move these up. I gotta remove that here. There's always corruption when FIFA is involved, and that's what that documentary is about. It's been corrupt since 1974 is when it originally started, and Adidas was involved. So
wow.
Interesting documentary about it, but
well, so yeah, I mean, if you guys don't know, there's they built these stadiums incredibly fast, and they said many people passed away because they were in a hurry and they were receiving
slave
wages
labor.
basically it was the wages were really low, and the conditions in which they were making the constructions was pretty bad. So there's a lot of people who are saying that people died during these constructions. So
the number was in a couple thousand died, and some of it is not. My first thought is somebody falling. Right, that's my first thought. But it sounds like a lot of it might be just working conditions, working in 113-degree heat. Stuff like that. They can't play soccer in it, but they could build a stadium and people passing out, from that. But there was stuff I was seeing today, and I didn't pull images for it, but there's the stadiums got done, but there's still a lot of infrastructure around the stadiums that are still not completed, or look a little bit incomplete. Did you see where they? I mean, part of me is like it was ingenious, and part of me says it looks horrible. But they took shipping containers, Ed, and turned shipping containers into kind of like hotels, if you will. There are a bunch of shipping containers laid out for for fans that are visiting the country. And
apparently the housing situation is pretty bad. They didn't have space for people. I heard there's also like tent cities all around the Qatar, because they didn't have enough space for all these people. So I guess planning was an issue. I know they had a couple of cruise ships where people are staying on as well. So and plus you were talking about the drinking thing, man, off camera. That's another thing we should bring up.
So Budweiser, Ambev or whatever it is, but Budweiser spent about, from what I understand, around $120 million for their sponsorship deal with FIFA. And part of that is they get to sell beer in and around the stadiums. And 48 hours before the games started, Qatar shut it down. You're not allowed to sell any alcohol in or in the perimeter of the stadium. There are fan event areas where they can sell it, but that's a little bit further away. You cannot sell any alcohol in the stadium. And at the end of the day, selling alcohol in the stadium, while a lot of us are beer drinkers, and that's part of going to see a game, it's not the end all be all, right? It's not that big of a deal if you really think about it. Where the problem really is the communication. This was communicated out in the last 48 hours when really there's not a lot that can be done. And another interesting thing too is Brazil, when they hosted the World Cup, they were not going to sell alcohol either, because idiot fans, right? They get too rowdy and they fight and all that. They weren't going to sell alcohol in their stadiums, but FIFA made them. But FIFA's not making Qatar do it. It's an interesting thing. This whole Qatar thing, I find the story behind the World Cup so interesting. I was reading all about it all today. I mean, so much with the human rights issues and the gay issues, as far as, there was something like, they said something like, okay, so it's illegal, right, in that country to be gay. But they kind of made a statement that you could come into our country, but just tone it down a little bit. That was their words, tone it down. And it's kind of funny, right? So it's like, tone your personality down, tone whatever we don't like down. That's really
right. Yeah,
whatever we don't like, just tone it down a notch.
right.
And and the other thing, before we get into talking about the USA, which I know the chat wants to talk about, but the other issue too is the coverage of this tournament, Ed. And the vast differences of based on who's covering the sport. So if you're watching it on Fox, you're going to see a very positive view on Qatar. You're watching it on Telemundo. From what I understand, they say they're going to use the NBC news division to dig into whatever issues there may be that are surrounding the sport. They'll still obviously focus on the games, but they're not going to shy away from social issues and so forth. BBC are hitting it head on. And the interesting thing, the reason Fox is going the sunshine and lollipops route is because their main sponsor is Qatar Airways, which is a state-owned airline. And they gave like all the Fox employees free flights out to Qatar.
Yeah.
So the fix is in there. So of course, Fox is going to only talk about in a positive way.
Right. They saved them some money, and I'm sure they're very appreciative of that. But yeah, I watched it on Telemundo, and they basically said they talked about they kind of brought up some stuff. They didn't talk about it too elaborately, but they did mention that one of the singers that was on.
We might be losing Ed. All right. Let's see if Ed comes back. He's nice and frozen right now. As I see we're talking a little bit. I see that. I see we have a bot in here, but we're just going to ignore that. One of the things that I see. I think it was one world, one goal was asking if anyone saw the opening ceremony. Wasn't even on Telemundo or BBC. Was different. Tried to paint a more inclusive picture, but still showing their historic culture. And she's asking, did I watch the opening ceremony? And the answer is yes. Yes, I did watch it. And it was interesting. Would you guys think of their mascot, Casper the flying ghost, Arabian ghost, or Qatari ghost? Kind of interesting. Where's the? Did I bring that image up? No. I'm just looking for images. Anyways, yes, I did watch the opening ceremonies. Hopefully Ed can come back and join us. But it was awkward. I thought the opening ceremonies were beautiful in some ways. I thought the dancing, showing the Qatari dancers and in the singing and stuff like that was beautiful. But it was also very awkward. They tried to show that they love everybody and they're inclusive, when they have Morgan Freeman coming out. And then they have that guy that, has got no lower body, right? You see him coming out. And it was interesting, too, because near the end of that, Morgan Freeman and that guy, they go to touch fingers. But you notice they don't quite touch. It was weird because I was like, if you want to show that we're together, that we kind of, you join hands or you do something like that. But they didn't. They just sort of close to touch, but didn't quite touch. And so I found that to be kind of interesting. And let's see if Ed can join us now. I'm bringing him back in. There he is.
Peter, I'm back.
So we were talking, Ed, a little bit about the opening ceremony. One world, one goal was asking, and I thought it was a little bit of an awkward ceremony because in a big message. I think the overall message of the ceremony was inclusivity, that they love everybody and can we all get along. but that's not really how that country feels. So it was awkward.
True. It's true. And sorry, guys, I got to tell you what happened is my grandkids ran into the room where the internet's at, and they disconnected it. So
that's funny.
That's what happened. So we're not actually in Qatar for you guys.
Busted
right now.
Busted.
Yeah, we got busted. But yeah, Peter, I was saying something before I got disconnected that Telemundo at least was what's it called? They were talking about how there was an activist who human rights activist who happened to be Qatari, who was a singer, and he sang in the event. So they thought that it must have they must have done something to make him come around, in order to do that. And man, I think right before we got on the show, I even told you about there's already some arrests that are going on.
Oh, right.
In Qatar, there's this one guy a Mexican guy he took in tequila to the country, and I guess you're not supposed to do it. He's a TikToker guy, and I don't know why he did that, but now he's in jail, and it looks like they are asking for the Mexican government to intervene because apparently they want to give him 30 lashes. 30 lashes for that.
And I was actually having a conversation with my wife earlier today saying, I just got a feeling something like this is going to happen. There is going to be some fan, or whether fan or famous person, like a Brittany Greer type of situation with Russia, where somebody's going to do something, it could be as something as minor as like spitting on the sidewalk, and that's illegal, or something to that effect. Right. I mean, I have no idea if that's illegal, but somebody's going to do something that's going to land them in the Qatari equivalent of the gulag.
Right. And yeah, dude, it's just like, you got to be careful in those countries because you don't know. I mean, they've got their Islamic laws, which are some of them are incredibly strict. I think Qatar and there's a couple other countries that aren't as literal about some of these things, but some of them are. It's just you got to know. They got to tell people what to expect. What to not do, and taking alcohol into a country that you should know you don't take alcohol to, that's a big deal.
Yeah. And Guyver's mentioning something else my wife was telling me about. I was watching a documentary. He says, you can't bring alcohol, no partial nudity, no pork. So what my wife was telling me is she found something. She was trying to do some research for me. So she found something where it said that even as a visitor, you cannot show like extra skin, for example, men or women. Like you can't show in public your legs, as an example. So you can't wear shorts, even though it's hot. You can't wear shorts. And so your legs in public have to be covered, man or woman. And there was something about you can't go shirtless. You can't show midriff or something. And there was a guy in the stadium that had his shirt off. My wife was like, "Oh, that guy's gonna get in trouble." He's got his shirt off.
Well, yeah, there's things like that. I saw some Ecuadorian guys that actually wore shirts that looked like they didn't have a shirt on. So I thought that was hilarious. But it was actually a shirt. I think they were like trying to defy the authorities, to come up to them and they'll be like, "Oh, okay, it's a shirt." I just thought that was funny. I forgot to send you the picture of that because that would have been good for you to put up. Yeah. But yeah, there's definitely a lot of things that you got to be careful in those countries. And this is just probably the beginning, man. We're going to hear all sorts of stories because thousands and thousands of people have gone into Qatar, and this is going to be interesting.
Yeah, this one World Cup I would actually be scared to go to because it's like, what if you just do something by mistake? You just do something by mistake and, you end up in trouble.
Oops.
Right?
Yeah, right. And then you get locked up in the slammer and, you get lashed like that one guy.
Yeah.
And it's
so let's move off the corruption issues a little bit and just kind of talk a little bit about what's next in this group before we move on to what's going on in the U.S. group, but you're in Group A here: Ecuador, Qatar, Senegal, and my boys, the Netherlands.
Yeah.
I say my boys because those of you that don't know, I spelled my name kind of funny because my background, my grandfather was from Holland, so that's kind of like my third team I'll cheer for. Like I'm all USA and or Brazil unless they're playing each other because my wife's Brazilian, so I have to cheer for Brazil. But I'm also, Ed, I'm sorry, I'm rooting against Ecuador when they play Netherlands. Like I'm happy for you today, but when they do play against Netherlands, I hope they get crushed.
That's kind of how like who was it? Somebody asked me today if I would pick between the USA and Ecuador. And I was like, well, USA.
You fought
so they were
for
like,
the
oh,
USA.
You're not. Yeah, I fought for the US. So that's
right.
That's my whole thing. But second is Ecuador for sure. But as far as that group goes, I'm hoping for Senegal and Netherlands to tie tomorrow. They're going to play tomorrow. I think in the second game, and because that will definitely improve the possibilities for Ecuador to advance. Qatar definitely needs to win their next game, so they're in trouble. But Ecuador, I think if they if there's a tie between Senegal and Netherlands, they've got a better option. They could tie the next two games and they'll be in, and and everything's great for them. But I think the rest of the team, Senegal and Netherlands, are going to destroy Qatar, and so they're probably thinking those are 3 easy points.
And tomorrow is Senegal plays the Netherlands tomorrow. That should be a fun game. I don't think Senegal is necessarily a walkover team. I don't know a whole lot about them, but these African teams quite often surprise you.
I think they're the African champions. So
so it should be
Egypt.
Okay,
big deal.
It should be a good game. I would expect Netherlands to win, but that's a 11 a.m. game, and and then
you expect Netherlands to win, but I think Senegal could probably.
They could surprise.
They're big guys, man. And they're fast. Forget about it.
Baldwin checking in saying Senegal will be hurt with Maine out.
Mané, he's out. That sucks. Yeah. Ouch. Yeah, if he's out, it definitely improves the possibilities for the Netherlands.
Tank says, I'll take Holland for a win, or what is that, Belgium to win from Europe? I'd like a new champ, United States or Messi.
Well, Messi's going to play for everything, so he's going to do it. Yeah, Senegal is good, just no Mané. Yeah, so that's going to be a good game, man. Netherlands and Senegal.
That's going to be a fun game.
You're hoping for a win. We'll see how it goes, and then we might have to do a wager for the Ecuador Netherlands game. So that'd be good.
Yep. And then starting tomorrow, we also have our group here, the U.S. group, starting off with in the morning at 8 a.m. We've got England versus Iran, and then at 2 p.m. USA versus Wales.
And what do you think about that? England, I think, should be able to take Iran. I mean, we don't know too much about Iran. But you would imagine England just have their league is just so much better,
right? And
their players are just we would imagine better. But it's 11 against 11, so you can never say never. But I think England's got that one, and USA Wales that should be a little bit more even. I think USA were the youngest team in the World Cup, so we definitely have youth, and these guys are going to run. The USA has always been really fast, especially with all these young guys. And Wales, well,
do we know anything about what? The only thing I know about Wales is Wrexham, thanks to Ryan Reynolds.
Oh, really? Well, and they've got Gareth Bale.
Right, that's true.
LAFC. He scored during the final of LAFC. He might be in form. Not too sure. He's a hell of a player. But can anybody really name the rest of the players in the Wales team? Not too many. So USA's, I think USA has a possibility of, they've got their youth in front of them. I think they could take on Wales and hopefully, and we can get those 3 points. So I see it. If USA is able to get past Wales, if we beat Iran, we could even lose against England, and I think we'll be in. So that's just my take. I think we've got the youth, we've got the possibilities of making that happen. Oh, man, we got the lineup.
Yeah, we got the lineup. If you can actually read that, I can't.
or the yeah, I can't even read it. Can you make it bigger, Peter?
I mean,
it's going to cover you, right? Or you're going to be right over it. We don't need to see the players.
Yeah,
if you can maneuver it, because I can't see it for anything. So, and if you hear there's yelling in the background, it's my grandma getting on top of the brats. They're the kids love each other, but they fight all the time.
Let's do that, and then I'll come back in. Oops, take you, put me, and then remove that. That helps a little bit. So, who do you think they start, Ed? What do you think in goals? Oh, we just lost Ed again a little bit where we can't hear him.
Oh, sorry about that.
There you go.
I put on mute because I didn't want the kids to they were yelling and crying. So
don't worry about the kids. We know they're getting whipped in the background. It's no big deal.
Oh yeah.
They're getting 30 lashings.
Oh man, no, nothing like that. Human rights in this house is a lot better than I'll tell you.
A lot more strict in that house.
Yeah,
right? Well, the rights.
But Horvath, Johnson, and Turner, man, that's a good call. There's a lot of keepers that I think could have been in that World Cup team, but Turner, I think, is probably going to be the one. And Baldwin, I think, agrees. What do you think, Peter?
I think I would go with what Baldwin is saying as Turner as the starter. But it's funny is usually when you go into a World Cup for at least the United States, you already know at least the starting goalkeeper. The goalkeepers we generally have pretty much locked in. But this is one that we're not 100% sure about, and which is an interesting position to be in. But
so
reading some of the chats. So apparently, One World, One Goal, I think agrees with Matt Turner. Tank is saying that Berhalter said Weston and Sergino were both fully training with the rest of the squad. He didn't mention De La Torre, though. So maybe everybody's healthy.
Yeah, I think everybody's healthy. I think Sergino is probably definitely going to be in there. As far as the defenders go, not really sure, what players he's going to. I think they have a lineup, don't they?
This was an interesting run up to the World Cup for me, at least in this house. I didn't watch a lot of it, partially because of my whole TV situation, in that I don't have cable, and I just turn things on and off and all that kind of stuff. And I for the most part, I don't generally have Fox Sports in where a lot of the games might be. I obviously, paid for a subscription of something for this month so I could watch it. But normally I'm not seeing this. So I actually didn't see a ton of the games leading up to this. So I'm not as familiar. Like, I know these players, but it's, for me at least, it's hard to pick a starting lineup. I am just really, really looking forward to seeing the game. But I would agree with Baldwin in that I would expect to see Ream and Zimmerman for sure. Zimmerman I'd like to see starting. I mean, he's tall. I think he plays well. Like DeAndre Yedlin, I think is the kind of guy that they bring in off the bench. He's there for team leadership, if nothing else. Even if he never sees the pitch, he's there for team leadership. I was reading an article today that they're saying, as far as a forward position, that Haji Wright could be the real difference maker in this. And he had an interesting story in how he started off playing with the New York Cosmos in the NASL or whatever version it was at the time. So that'll be interesting.
I would. I think I'm on the same way. Out of all the World Cup eliminations that I've seen, and they've been a lot at this point. This one was one of the ones that I paid less attention to for some reason. I do remember like Mexico was terrible. They barely made it by the skin of their teeth. Um, and Canada was the one that surprised everybody coming in first place. So
Right.
I'm looking forward to seeing what Canada can do as well. But there's a lot of MLS players right there, so you know. I got to see which players. Who do you think would be the captain? I think.
Baldwin thinks it's Tyler Adams.
Baldwin
Was
look at
announced.
that.
He was announced as captain.
Oh wow, that's what I was. I didn't expect him. I thought somebody with a little bit more experience. But this team, like I said before, it's really young. We've got a hell of a future, man. If these guys can get out of the group stage, get some of that experience in. I don't think we're gonna win the World Cup. Well, I hope they do, knock on wood. But they've got a hell of a future, man. I think we're gonna be able to qualify to the next at least 3 World Cups.
A lot of the predictions that I've seen of like, a lot of the Fox people or whatever putting out their little, how they think it's going to the brackets. I watched it leading up, several people putting things out, and a lot of them have the U.S. making a pretty good run, getting out of the first round, maybe even getting out of the second round. So, we've got a good shot as far as that goes. And I saw here Reed Jackson, a English fan. How you doing, Reed? He's asking, how do you think you'll do against us, against England? How will the U.S. do against England?
That's going to be a tough one, man.
Yeah.
I think out of all the games, the English are the strongest. I'm hoping we could do one of them 1950s maneuvers where we, we actually won a game against England. But dude, that's going to be tough. That's definitely our toughest game. I'm betting on the USA getting some points from Wales and Iran, and we'll be in to the second half. But I don't see it. The most I think we can get is a tie from England.
And that's what Baldwin is also agreeing, a tie. One World, One Goal thinks England will beat us. Do they know our players? I mean, nowadays, everybody knows everybody.
Right.
So I'm not, concerned about that. But I guess to me, it depends. I want to see how they do against Wales. If they struggle, then I'm scared, right? When we play England. If they really do well and show well, then I think maybe we get a draw against England and potentially beat them. Imagine coming out of this group in first place, huh?
Wow, that would be something. It's tough, but you never know. You never
Tank
know,
says,
Peter Brown.
USA gets the upset 2-1 versus England.
Of course, Tank's always very positive when it comes to his teams. Like with Inter Miami, he's always thinking we're going to win.
Right. Reed is talking to One World, One Goal and saying, you can't write off the U.S. And that's the case for, majority of games, I think, in general, except for Qatar. You can write them off.
Yeah, after their showing today, I think they're pretty much done unless they can make a miracle happen. But I think out of those, I think the U.S. has a good chance. Like I said before, England and USA, I think, are going to be the ones going into the next round. Crossing my fingers.
Yeah, but one issue I have, Ed, with this World Cup is they have no respect for Thanksgiving and Black Friday. Scheduling games on Thanksgiving is not nice. I don't appreciate it because here,
can't eat turkey in peace.
Right. Because my family is not interested. I'm going to go hang out with family. They're not interested in this. But here's the a lot. It's a busy week, and there'll be a lot of good stuff. Brazil's going to be playing Serbia, and that's a game I have to watch. It's at like 2 p.m. on Turkey Day. That's a struggle. That's going to be hard to watch. And then on Black Friday, when I'm supposed to be hanging out with not shopping, but just hanging out with my sister and stuff. Got the England U.S. game on Black Friday. That's very inconvenient for me. And the Netherlands-Ecuador game. That's going to be fun. Ooh, yeah. How am I going to – I mean, I'm just going to be glued to my phone, I think, wherever I am.
Those are great games too, man. Wow. That's going to be tough.
Yeah.
And I got to be working too on Black Friday, so –
Oh, wow. Yeah.
That's going to hurt, man.
Thursday, you also have Portugal, Ghana, and I saw in the chat that somebody was asking about Ronaldo playing or not, and whether he would play, because some people are saying they don't really need him. No, not that one. What group are they in?
I think he's still a hell of a player, and he's the type of player that's going to change. That'll change a game.
There they go. That's the group.
That's a tough group right there.
Yeah, I was looking for. I didn't know what group they were in, so I was just flipping through the groups. But yeah, some people don't want him to start. But yet I'm reading he's coming into this World Cup in peak shape. You know, I found it, Tank. I found it. Thanks. You're a little, late. There's a delay, but thanks for the help.
That is a tough group, man. Look at that: Portugal, Ghana, Uruguay, Korea.
Yeah,
tough group.
That's a tough group. Should be some fun
I know
games
very little of Ghana. I don't know if they're that good. I knew Senegal was the African champions, with Ghana, it's a mystery for me to know if they were how good they really are. But I would bet Portugal would probably go just because they got Ronaldo, and Ronaldo's the type of player that'll change any game by himself. We've only got two players like that in the world right now, and I think that's Messi and Ronaldo. So I think he could change things. Uruguay and Korea, that's a tough group, right? But I put it between Portugal, Ghana, and Uruguay to advance.
And that's what's being discussed in the chat. Is Group H the group of death then? There's always got to be a group of death.
Even though Korea might be competitive, those guys are incredibly fast, man. So tough. But Uruguay is also a very old team. They've got Cavani, they've got Suarez, who's been rumored to also be coming to Miami. They got a couple of other players that are also pretty old. I think they're the oldest team in the World Cup at this point. So it's all experience. But I'm hoping. Look at that.
Tank is rooting for Uruguay
and
Korea to advance.
Wow.
Huh.
I would say Uruguay and Portugal. That's my preference. But of course, being a Latin and all.
Apparently, Qatar beat Korea to be Asian champs. Yeah, see, that's what I had heard is Qatar really did have a good run-up to the World Cup, and they've been training for a long time. All these players, they train a lot together. Mm-hmm. So they have that benefit as well.
Wow, so I had no idea that Qatar was that good. And they did so terrible against Ecuador,
right?
Maybe the level.
Right.
Play. Well, it was just one game, and I think they couldn't play against them against Ecuador. And
Guyver is asking how Group E is. So in that group, you have to assume Spain and Germany are making it.
Right. Japan might be. They're always a contender, but they're also a fast team. Costa Rica, sorry guys. I hope you enjoy going back to the beaches soon, but I just don't see them. Yeah.
Tank is saying they are the oldest starting 11 and believe they need walkers on the pitch.
Wow. I thought Uruguay was the oldest. But there, I stand corrected. Because I know there are a lot of old Uruguayans. Spain is so strong, but not as before. I agree. I think Spain will advance, but I think they won't make it to the very end. Germany, they're not as good as they've been in the past. I think they're also a team that's the tide is changing for them. They need like a new group of players, and they're like in the process of doing that, I think. So I don't think they're going to advance, but I mean they've always been strong in every World Cup, so that's pretty tough. Fogata Vitrina, saludos primo, viva Ecuador. Oh, it's my cousin Michelle. How you doing?
Saw that. I figured to put it up for
Ganamos. Ecuador, Ecuador. So, no, yeah, that's cool, man.
Baldwin saying all Spain and Argentina injuries at Qatar already. Pretty wild. What group is Argentina in? There we
They
go.
are
Group C.
C.
So with Group C, Argentina and Mexico, you assume make it out, but Poland,
Poland probably has a chance. Saudi Arabia, probably not. Poland has a chance. I mean, they got Lewandowski, he's still a monster. He's like 100 years old, still scoring goals. That guy is just incredible. But Mexico wasn't that great in this World Cup qualifying. I mean, yes, they're always competitive. They're always making it to the World Cup, but this year Mexico just seems like Telemundo was one of the things I complained to my dad about today was how incredibly pro-Mexican all the Spanish channels are. Yes, okay, there's the most Mexican. Most of the fans are Mexican here in
that
the
are
United
watching.
States.
Yeah,
that are watching. So they got to be. I guess they're going for the viewers, but it's just like they're just talking about how great Mexico is, and they weren't that great. I just don't think there's a possibility Poland could beat them, and the possibility they won't make it out of the group stage. I think Argentina's a shoo-in, but I think Poland also has a big chance of making it through.
Yeah, I'm not going to sit here and pretend that I know a whole lot about these teams. I mean, I know a lot about the individual players, but how are they playing leading up to the World Cup? I'm not going to pretend and be the soccer pundit that some people may be. I'm just a fan, and I'm just super excited to see all these games, and that's what's. I'm just super pumped that we're going to have 3 games a day for the next, what is it, 2 weeks or whatever it is for the first round. It's going to be super exciting, and that's when I'm happy I'm working from home, Ed, because I do have to work.
Lucky you.
I do have to work, but I can have it on in the background. There's just going to be some meetings that I have once in a while that may interrupt an important game, but for the most part, I have a good opportunity to catch most, if not all, of these games. So
nice.
I'm happy about that.
Yeah, the good thing is you could be in the meeting and you could still have it in the background. And you could be paying attention to the meeting, and then all of a sudden, go. I
shouldn't be doing that. I got to lead by example, Ed. Got to lead by example.
Yeah,
so
but I can see that happening now. I can see that happening.
Back in the old days, pre-internet and all that, I remember having I was working, and I was doing what I do now, but I was doing it the old-fashioned way with film and the position was, we were actually called strippers, believe it or not, Ed. The position because you would strip film. So my job title was stripper. But anyways, I would have one of those little portable TVs. You know how you had those little pocket TVs? And I had that sitting there on my light table because I worked on a big table that was all glass and had light. And I would just have that sitting there while I'm working, and nobody seemed to care. As long as I was doing my job. But I was at the shop watching it on, the little rabbit ears or something like that, trying to pull it in. The old days, the good old days. Now it's so much easier to watch it, but.
Well, I think Baldwin agrees that Peter will forever be a stripper in his mind.
So that was a joke that a lot of my friends would enjoy. We'd go to a bar or whatever, and there's a girl, and my buddies would say, "Hey, tell her what you do for a living." I'm like, "Nah, I'm in the graphics business." They're like, "No. Tell them what you do. Tell them what your job title is." And I say, all right, whatever. I'm a stripper. And they at first, their first reaction is like, and then they look me up and they look me down. They go, "Nah." I'm like, no, for real. That's what it's called. But instead of stripper poles, I use a light table and razor blades and tape, which sounds kinky, but it's not.
It's not, ladies and gentlemen.
But I used to have some fun with that.
Something that would not be looked that would people in Qatar would probably not like.
I would get arrested in Qatar for even those jokes, I think.
Mm-hmm. You wouldn't be able to talk.
But that's all true. So there you go.
So, and when one goes like she's liking. Well, we got somebody we have to block right there, Peter. By the way, um, I guess because you started talking about strippers and somebody walked in here and started putting up pictures or whatever. But
No, I don't see it.
you don't see it good. Okay, we are. I agree with one word, one goal. You know, you Telemundo. Do you care about the talking in the background with the games? I mean, I watch Telemundo, of course, because I'm Hispanic, and
Why not?
Andres Counter is the guy that
Classic.
does the goal. Yeah, he does the goals, and that's just something that I enjoy a lot. Whenever he's like, "Oh," if you hear the English broadcasting on Fox. And they just say score. Oh, that was a great goal. It's they need to get Ray Hudson in there or something.
I think American broadcasters always get railed on that they're so bad and this, and I don't agree. I think John Strong and what's his name? I forget his name, but the former player. I think they're fine. I think they're good. I don't have a problem with them. Do they have that level of excitement that the Latino announcers have? No, but I think they're fine. A lot of times people will say, "Oh, the English commentators are so much better. The ones that are in England, they're so much better." No, they're not. They're boring, too. So
right. Well, I don't listen to the English guys. I listen to the Latin guys because I think they're just more exciting.
I won't argue that the Telemundo, Univision, or whatever. I love the yelling and the excitement. I do enjoy that. I don't understand them, so I choose to. I do want to hear any commentary for the most part. Like in today's game, I could have technically had the Spanish on because my wife and daughter were walking around the house and all the whole time talking and stuff like that. So I couldn't really hear the TV all that well, and since it wasn't the U.S. or the Brazil or sorry, Ed. It wasn't a team I really cared about. Sorry, Ed. It wasn't all that important to me as far as if I could hear it or not. But as far as just pundits, there's commentary in here. Anthony is mentioning it. I don't know if you guys caught it, but I enjoyed the banter between Clint and Alexi. Clint called him out for talking smack about the 2014 squad. I did see that. Because Alexi said something about them not being, that good, and now he's like, saying how this is like one of the best U.S. teams that we've ever seen or whatever. They had some disagree. It was fun. Clint can get a little fiery in there, like Alexi. He's always got a hot opinion, and a lot of people don't like him. I do like him because I want someone to have an opinion, and even if you don't like the opinion, it's still more entertaining than just someone sitting there agreeing with you. And he will take that opposite opinion quite often. So I like it. I like those guys. And I'm looking forward to, I think it's at 9 p.m. every night. I'm not sure. I think it's tonight where they'll have their kind of like magazine style show, their World Cup Tonight or whatever they're calling it. I'm looking forward to watching that.
That's going to be cool. I kind of liked it. I don't not watch some of these things. I like to watch the MLS, the shows that they've got and stuff like that because, I don't watch as much MLS as I used to. I used to have more time. I used to watch so many games, and now it's just like I'm lucky if I can get one in every week. That's like one a week, and it's usually Inter Miami.
Right, of course.
So that's about it.
But now you've got to fit in 3 games a day for a month. I mean, it'll get tough. Less. It'll get less as we go further on. But
that's got to be tough unless you're like a boss like Peter Brown, who just basically sits around at home all day.
I do work, Ed. I just happen to work from home.
I tried to get the week, a couple of weeks off, but they didn't let me, man.
Oh, okay.
I was going to do videos every night too. That would have been cool.
I mean, we can crank out some more if you want. Tank is saying he loves Alexi, but he always thinks he's right. And he wishes he had kept the beard and the hair. But that's Alexi does always think he's right. That's part of his charm. Look, he's had a very successful pundit career, and that's part of the reason is he doesn't hold back. And I like that. I mean, I remember Eric Winalda used to do the same type of stuff, and people didn't like him because they didn't like what he said. I loved it. You know who's going to be boring as hell is Landon Donovan, because he's also on this Fox staff, and he'll probably be part of some of these studio shows. And I don't know if he's gotten better, but last time, I think the last World Cup, I think they used him a little bit, and he was boring. He had like no opinion. And, kind of coach talk type of thing, just talking around the issue instead of really arguing about it and talking about it. And I find that to be kind of boring.
Well, maybe they had a little talk with him and said, dude, you need to get a little more interesting, or your career as a commentator is over.
Yeah, maybe. We'll see. We'll see how he does. But anyways, I mean, the plan is for us to continue doing the Monday night. The Sunday night show will be focused on World Cup during this World Cup. We may, depending on Ed's availability, pepper in a show here or there on our World Cup set. What'd you guys think? Did you like the graphics that we had going on today? If I may consider, maybe we consider doing this kind of setup for our Inter Miami type stuff. It looks kind of.
We could also do. I was thinking, I totally forgot to tell you before, Peter. Maybe if you guys want, we could do another soccer show tomorrow instead of the.
Probably a good idea.
Show, because as far as there's a lot of shows that aren't and movies that have just ended, or whatever. So, maybe we just do a review of the 3 games that we're having, a preview of the games that are coming up. Because I'll definitely be available for the show tomorrow. So send us put a comment on social media or whatever, and I'm gonna put something up on social media. You guys want us? Maybe I'll do a poll. You guys want us to do more soccer show instead of the nerd show until the World Cup is over, and we can do that.
I think that is probably
on Twitter.
I think that is probably what we should do. But put this little image in the background to get a nice little laugh on our way out.
Yeah, Enter Valencia. He definitely. They made a lot of jokes about him because he scored all the goals and they took one away from him. He could have had his hat trick in this today if they wouldn't have taken back that first goal. So.
All right, everybody. Well, I think that will wrap it up right here, and plan on doing this again tomorrow. If you guys want to see it, let us know in the comments. There's
already a few comments of people saying maybe we should do more soccer show because of the World Cup. So
yeah, exactly. We should probably do as much World Cup coverage as we can. Let's have some fun talking about it. Let's have some fun watching it. Let's cheer on our upside down.
USA. We got to win. Right. USA. Peppa Pig is also with us. Oh, he fell.
But here's a problem, Ed. I only have, I'll take it back. I was going to say I only have one USA shirt. I do have an even older USA shirt that I can wear tomorrow. So, all right, everybody, check back with us tomorrow. We should be planning on doing another World Cup related show. Thanks so much for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe, and we will see you tomorrow. See you, everybody.